Today in Taipei, a 19-year-old's attempt to smuggle exotic wildlife takes a shocking twist. And that's just the start of a busy news day.
Hey there, I'm Garrett.
And I'm Leah. Welcome to Laid Back Local, the news of the day with Leah and Garrett reporting from Taipei. First up, a 19-year-old Taiwanese tourist was detained at Bangkok's Suvarnabhumi Airport, which is Thailand's main international hub, for trying to smuggle 30 Indian star tortoises. Officers found them concealed on her body, and heartbreakingly, one had already died. The Indian star tortoise is a small tortoise with striking star-like patterns on its shell. It's listed as vulnerable on the IUCN Red List, a global scale that tracks how close species are to extinction. These tortoises are highly prized in the illegal pet trade, and Taiwan bans their illegal import and sale. Wildlife trafficking isn't a victimless crime. It chips away at biodiversity, meaning the variety of life in our ecosystems, and sets back conservation work that takes years.
That's just reckless and cruel. 30 tortoises on one person. No way. We're talking about a species already under pressure, and every single animal removed from the wild makes the situation worse. Stricter enforcement at borders, plus penalties that actually deter smugglers, has to be part of the playbook. And public awareness matters too. If there's no demand, the black market dries up.
Why would someone risk this? What's the pull here?
Money, mostly. The illegal pet trade pays, and there's this false idea that rare equals cool. But it's not cool. It's a crime that harms living creatures and ecosystems. That's something to chew on, huh? Next up, a severed submarine cable disrupted communications between Bagan and Dongyin in the Matsu Islands. That's the small island chain off the coast of China's Fujian province, but administered by Taiwan. The break happened about 2.64 kilometers off Dongyin. Chunghwa Telecom, our major telecom provider, and the Ministry of Digital Affairs confirmed the outage. Voice calls and basic internet were rerouted over microwave links, which are point-to-point radio connections. Good for essentials, but they can't carry everything, so cable TV stayed offline. For context, this same spot saw partial damage in March, likely from rough seas shifting a nearby shipwreck. And in January 2025, 2 cables serving Matsu were cut. Chinese vessels were accused at the time, but there was no confirmed evidence of deliberate interference. Bottom line, these fiber optic lines on the seafloor are vulnerable to both nature and human activity.
I'm glad they flipped to microwave backup fast. Dongyin only has around 1,500 residents, and for remote communities, a dropped connection can mean delays to medical help or business, and a lot of stress. Exploring satellite communications makes sense. Satellite backhaul, which is just sending data up to a satellite and back down to the network, can give a resilient safety net when a cable snaps. Redundancy is peace of mind.
Yeah, totally. Low Earth orbit satellites, fast-moving satellites closer to Earth, can keep latency low. That's tech speak for delay. Mix that with repaired cables, and Matsu gets a sturdier setup. That's pretty cool, right?
Next up, a new survey from the National Taiwan Normal University Students' Union, that's the student body of a major teacher training school, and the Union of Teacher Education, a group that advocates for teacher trainees, says more than 80% of pre-service teachers are hesitant to enter classrooms. The top reasons are fear of parental complaints leading to investigations, feeling disrespected, and low pay. Even so, many still see teacher training as a path to stable careers. Respondents said their courses should lean more into crisis management, communication, leadership, and student counseling. Basically, the real-world skills you need on day one. And Ho Chun Liang, who chairs the National Federation of Teachers Unions, a nationwide labor group for educators, suggests raising internship allowances, which is a simple stipend to help trainees who are already doing real classroom work.
Not gonna lie, low pay plus constant complaint fear is a rough combo. If we want a strong future workforce, we need better incentives, fair pay, mentoring, and clear procedures that don't treat every complaint like a career ender. You stabilize the job, you stabilize the pipeline of new teachers. Yeah, that checks out.
Okay, let's move on. Calls are growing for Taiwan to enhance plastic reduction policies in industry. Chun Kuei, the former deputy minister at the Environmental Agency, argues that while consumer rules like charging for plastic bags have helped, we need stronger limits on industrial plastics. That's the packaging films, pallets, and wraps used in factories and logistics. Current goals aim for a 5% cut by 2030 and 10% by 2035, but here's the twist. Plastic bag production and sales have actually risen despite long-standing rules.
Industrial use is where the volume lives. One factory decision can remove tons of plastic from the system in a single stroke, way more leverage than asking each shopper to remember a tote, even though that helps too. Tracking supply and demand better and putting caps or incentives where the tonnage is highest could move the needle fast.
I'm all for stepping up industrial rules. Measure it, set a target, and hold firms to it. Real talk, it's about designing packaging smarter, switching materials where possible, and cutting single-use where it's not needed. That's a thread worth pulling on. Last up, Taiwan plans 9 more reclaimed water plants to shore up our industrial water supply as rainfall becomes less predictable with climate change. The 7 existing plants already produce over 190,000 tons a day. With the new builds, output should top 500,000 tons daily. Reclaimed water just means highly treated wastewater that's safe for industrial reuse. It takes pressure off reservoirs. And the government is investing about 12 billion new Taiwan dollars in seawater desalination for Hsinchu and Tainan. Desalination is simply turning seawater into fresh water. Those plants are slated to be online by 2028 and together add more than 100,000 tons a day.
That hits different, in a good way. Diversifying supply is how you climate-proof an economy. Reclaimed water for fabs and factories, desal as a dry season backup, and conservation on the demand side. TSMC, our biggest chip maker, aiming for over 60% reclaimed water by 2030, shows industry buy-in. Let's dig into this. If heavy users lead, the rest can follow. And that's a wrap for this one.
Thanks for tuning in to Laid Back Local, the news of the day with Leah and Garrett from Taipei. Have a great day, and be sure to join us again tomorrow.